Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here. Welcome back to another episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. And in today's video for the final myth, we're going to be testing to see if whether or not that if the No Mercy Hospital has a different design when you're standing at the panic event in chapter 3 next to the gas station compared to just standing right next to it in, like, let's say the end of chapter 3. So that's what we'll be testing here at the end of the video. If you guys have been enjoying today's video, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And if you guys have a myth of your very own that you'd like to be featured in next week's episode, please by all means leave it here in the comments down below. Or also alternatively, you can leave it in my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. All that being said, guys, I hope you ended up enjoying seeing this week's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: will a survivor who's shot by another in the back use a generic "someone shot me" line, and if the survivor is facing the other survivor, will they call out the shooter by name? Alrighty guys, this first myth is submitted in by Dirk at Work. So we're going to put the myth to the test right now. I'm going to have Spencer turn around while I shoot him in the back of the head with a pistol. Now I do believe a lot of you think that you already know how this myth is going to go, but believe it or not, somehow, some way, probably because he's got eyes in the back of his head, Lewis actually ended up identifying Zoe as the shooter and immediately knew it was me. This also did happen more than once. Both me and Dan were shooting at Spencer, and he at least identified Francis the second time, so that means that this is at least more than one time that this happened. So based off the testing, there's some instances in where that the characters will call you out by name regardless if they're looking at you or not, and there's sometimes where they can't identify you or just choose to not say your name and just use generic voice lines when you're behind or in front of them. Based off an educated guess, I believe that the voice line triggers are just random about whether or not they decide to include your name, so I'm just going to label it as plausible because it looks like it's just random if whether or not they say your name when you shoot them regardless of where. Myth: can you permanently stun a common infected by shoving it and wedging it in between a deployed ammo box and a wall? Alrighty guys, the second myth is submitted in by Rigamortem. Well, I think it's safe to say we have plenty of ammo boxes to test this myth, so let's get to shoving and deploying. And this was especially comedic the way it happened. The zombie tripped on all the existing ammo boxes until he got stuck on finally the last one over there in the corner, and now he's just constantly permanently stun locked. He just keeps tripping after he gets up every single time, and now he can't do anything. He's completely helpless, which means that we would be able to immediately kill him whenever we wanted to. This means that the second myth is confirmed. If you have a ammo box and you want to screw around with the commons, you can shove them and trap them in between it and a wall. Myth: can the spitter spit through the tiny little windows in the safe room of Blood Harvest Chapter 4? Alrighty guys, the third myth is submitted in by Spencer, aka Dead Sled. Now here's the thing with this particular safe room, is that this particular safe room has little barriers blocking the tiny windows on the front half of the little train car here. So the only way to be able to get a spitter to be able to spit in here properly is to go through these little windows up here instead. Alright, so I'm the spitter and I'm now in place, so let's end up seeing if whether or not I can damage the guys, and when I end up no-clipping to see, yep, they're definitely twitching, so they are sustaining damage for sure. So this means that the myth is confirmed. If a spitter wanted to, it could shoot its spit loogie inside those tiny little windows in Blood Harvest Chapter 4 safe room. Myth: can a boomer still bile you in the glass elevator on the NSenr finale? Alrighty guys, the fourth myth is submitted in by Tacky Rovelator. So I just became Nick, and I'm going to let Dan and Spencer be the boomers in this particular case. I'm going to have them go behind me here and end up puking on me and see if whether or not it does anything. Now when they go to puke, the particles go through the elevator, but nothing affects me. But if I end up shooting them, it actually does for some odd reason. This fascinated me. And this didn't seem to be a fluke either, because doing it again, and also from a much farther distance this time, it still once again affected me. So apparently this only works if it's self-inflicted, I guess? So if you get the survivors to panic and they shoot you, then it will affect them. So you're probably better off just doing a suicide bomber strat with the boomer in this case. Now, Tacky, I did ask in the Discord if whether or not you were referring to the boomer being the causation of whether or not the survivors get blinded, or if whether or not the survivors did this to themselves, and I didn't happen to get a response before I finished this video. So I'm going to label your myth as plausible for now, because depending on how you look at it, it could go either way. If the boomer's trying to do it on its own, it's not going to work, but if a survivor panics and shoots them, then it works, which I find, once again, just fascinating about how it only works if the survivor just makes that mistake. Myth: does the No Mercy Hospital on Chapter 3 look slightly different near the crescendo event compared to standing directly near it? And the final myth of today's episode is going to be submitted in by How About No. Alrighty guys, so the task is to look for any slight differences with the No Mercy Hospital. Now, we're going to do a thorough examination and we'll let you guys know what our findings were. Now, the biggest and probably the most noticeable change is going to end up being the fact that if you end up phasing through the building in just the right way, you can see what looks like the No Mercy Hospital logo again. So if we fly back up here and we just line ourselves up in the absolute just perfect spot, you guys can see that there's an entire No Mercy Hospital inside of No Mercy Hospital. Now, the second most noticeable change is going to be which floors in the No Mercy Hospital have power, because when you get further and closer, you can see that certain lights turn on and off. So if I were to stand, like, let's say right about here, you guys can see that there's a lot more lights on than if I were to stand, like, let's say back by the crescendo event, where it looks like that there's almost like no power in the building. Now, the reason about why that this is happening is because there's actually two different versions of No Mercy Hospital, so that way, depending on where you're standing, one of them will render in, and then the other one will render in later. The low poly one is the one that you are seeing when you are in the crescendo event area of Chapter 3, and the high quality one is the one that you're going to see when you're right next to the hospital, so that way it doesn't look ugly or blurry when you're standing right beside it, and instead looks nice and pretty. The low poly one is just for when you're far away, so that way the game doesn't end up struggling to run things. So when it comes to the final myth, it is technically yes, and therefore confirmed, because there is a low poly one, or a less detailed No Mercy Hospital, and then there is a high quality one that you can only see when you're right beside it. Alrighty guys, but that is it here for today's video, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And if you guys have a myth of your very own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, please by all means leave it here in the comments down below. Or also alternatively, you can leave it within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. As we wrap up the video, guys, just want to mention two last quick things. Number one, I have a second YouTube channel now. It is called Black Ninja 797 Extras. And on this channel, I'm going to be uploading and posting additional content that you would normally not see here on my main channel, such as gameplay, walkthroughs, funny moments with my friends, and Challenge Accepted, which was a series I used to do here on my main channel where I play games you guys request me to play. If you want to check out the second channel, there is going to be a link down below in this video's description. I also want to say thank you and shouts to Epic Games for being my first ever sponsor. I have a supporter creator code with them, and the code is just my name, Black Ninja 797 in all caps. If you guys want to, you can use it in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops. Anybody that uses my code or has used it before in the past, I tremendously appreciate you. And yeah, guys, all that being said, I hope you ended up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords. Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!
Ladies and gentlemen, in the left corner, we have John Cena hitting the attitude adjustment for the 17th world title. He's winning.
He's winning by a landslide.
Oh, uppercut. Oh, he rocked the shit.
An RKO. Oh, no.